We got all of our plating down. We started doing all of our layout as well. We got a couple of our walls up. The back wall, as you can see, that wall is going to be a little different. We'll talk about that here soon though, because we don't have a top plate running all the way through end to end. We have a top plate running right there in the center. That's it. We'll get more into that. I'll show you guys the structural detail on what they're wanting there. It's gonna be a good time. If you guys are new here, subscribe button is somewhere down below. Hit that if you'd like to stay up to date on all of these uploads. Let's get to it. I do this on every single home build we do. You can see these arrows here. Once we've snapped out all of our walls, I go through and make sure that the guys know exactly which walls run through and which walls butt it. So this wall here will run out all the way to the edge. This wall here butts into the side of it. Another thing we like to do is label all of our walls when we pull them. Once you start framing, you do have to move a couple interiors out of the way. So we've got A wall here, B wall's right underneath you guys, C wall, so on and so forth. But that little bit of clear coat over our lines is going to prevent that from ever washing away. Be careful though, if concrete's exposed in the house, you do not want to do this. It doesn't come off easy. Now to use this thing and not pull out a tape at all you do is start end of plate right there on center of that layout. That lays out 16 centers. So you'll go through and mark there and there all the way down throughout your whole entire plate. Oftentimes people get confused when it comes to doing layout because they hook the end and pull 16 and go. The problem with that is once you put down a 48-inch sheet, a 4-foot sheet, it doesn't break on a stud, it breaks next to it. And you don't want that. So you want to lay out 15 1/4, 16 3/4, to where you're 16 on center rather than 16 to it. So in just a minute or two, thanks to this tool here, we've laid out the whole center wall, it's good to go. It's a dividing wall from one unit to the next, so there's nothing in it. There's no windows, no doors. So 16 on center all the way through, took care of that. We're gonna get that wall out of the way. Our goal is to get the front wall, that garage wall there, framed and stood. Once that's framed and stood, we can take care of the center wall, bang out the interiors. After that, the only thing we have left is our tall balloon walls. Those are gonna be fun. But if you guys wanna check out this layout tool, get one for yourself. Every framer should have one. Bigfoot Tools, Amazon link down below. It's the same people that make the plate marker that we've got for marking out all of our bolts when we do our plating.
The piece that you see installed here is called a channel. We have a 2x4 sandwiched in between two 2x6. The 2x4 is going to act as a backer for an intersecting wall to run into. That's how we'll tie the two walls together. The 2x6 on each side is going to act as a drywall backing for both sides of that intersecting wall. You'll see channels like this installed on every single home we build at every intersecting wall. You guys will get to see how everything comes together and how those channels work once we start tying walls together.
Good on our heel and
That'll keep your blade straighter when you go down.
he's on the same page. He's like, I'm like a quarter inch off on the stand. Yeah, and then I told him, we're going to cut and stack this little section here. Daniel was talking about, well, that's the one. And then monos. I don't want monos because then that changes. So this is going to be the stand we figured.
We're trying to use the lift out here as much as possible, whether it be moving material or standing walls. We've got this back wall on the garage that faces the alley. We're gonna lift this in one shot. It's gonna make it a lot easier than trying to stand it by hand. When you're trying to stand walls, it's bad enough trying to get them onto the bolts and the hold downs, but this stuff tears pretty easy. So we wanna keep this intact. Therefore, lifting the walls with the reach lift, dropping them right onto the top, is gonna make this a seamless process. We've got our angle iron on there right now, SDS down into the top plates and down into the studs. We're gonna use both of those as our pick point, lift this wall up and drop it in place. The way this is gonna work is he's gonna stand the wall, we're gonna get it upright, we're gonna go up with it, over, down onto our bolts. Don't move the big stuff. We want ourselves to
good habit to get in and something a lot of people don't think of when framing is walking forward while framing. I've known some people that have walked backwards and ended up walking right off the edge of a building. You can see here in the background that I'm nailing a stud, stepping over it. I can see exactly where I'm going. I can see any obstacle in front of me.
We'll be able to hit this pretty. Big wall, no problem.
If you're right-handed, you always want to start in the bottom left corner or the top right. That way you're always walking forward while framing.
Is this about one wall?
Yeah. I'm left-handed, I'm sorry.
No worries.
The rain is here and I think it's here to stay. It's Friday though, so as you guys know, every Friday we stop it short just a little bit. That way we can clean up. Homeowners are typically out on the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and we want to make it as clean as possible for them to where they're not walking through a mess. So on any rough opening, you have a jack stud or a trimmer, depending on where you're from, that supports the header. That's going to take the weight of the header above down through the trimmer to the bottom plate. We don't have trimmers on majority of these openings because the structural engineer called out for huck hangers. HUC is the part number followed by whatever lumber you're using. He called out for a huck 610, which is what you guys see here and over here. What this does is fastens to the king stud. You guys saw Fox installing them, and then the header drops in through the top. Since it's now in a hanger on both sides, it doesn't need to be supported down to the bottom plate. The weight of everything above it is being held on with those hangers. Therefore, you don't have to have a trimmer or a jack stud underneath. You'll see them a lot on 6x6 corners. To give it a nice, clean, finished look, you can have a window right up against the corner rather than having the 6x6, a trimmer pushing the window out even further. It's one of the only ways you can get a close to cornerless look. Now along with that, you can see the block lines running that way, and then along the sills, both sides as well. This is for perforated shear, meaning that we have a shear wall. It goes from here to over there. In that shear wall, we have a perforation, a hole. This window right here. Therefore, they want blocking 4x6, ran that way, and then along the sill as well. What we're gonna do is put a CS16 strap all the way along top and bottom, and that's gonna lock everything together. It allows them to get the shear values they need while having a window in their shear wall. Here's another example of hardware we're using here. This is a PC6Z. That is a post cap for a 6x6. So this post right here is actually our trimmer. It's carrying the weight of the header above. Now we only have 9-foot walls here. And in order to get an 8.0 door in here, we had to put this all the way up to top plates. So the top plates run up to it, but that's it. We'll have a strap along the top from the beam out to the double top plate to tie everything together. This up here is a 5 1/4 by 11 7/8 PSL. That thing's engineered to take the weight of everything above it, and we're gonna have a massive sliding glass door all the way through the back. We have the center wall up as well, which divides this unit to that one. That's also going to be a main bearing point for all of our floor joists. They're going to run across this way, land on that wall right there, and then continue out all the way to the other side of the building. But we're looking good, guys. It's raining out here. I'm going to go ahead and head on out. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. 2 days of framing. We got rained out on day 2, unfortunately. Luckily, it was towards the end of the day. I'm getting soaking wet standing out here. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the subscribe button down below. If you have any questions regarding framing or really anything, drop them in the comments. I will see you guys next time, though. I need to get in the truck. I am soaked. Bang on.